These kids had pulled off a plot against both of you all. How do you think you can not have a job?
What?
What?
I couldn't hear you.
No, it's called excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am?
See, we're gonna get it right in here today. I don't know who's teaching you, but I'm gonna give you a lesson.
I'm teaching them.
Well, you're not. Because when I say something, the answer's not what. In the world, he's gotta have a job.
He missed out on 22 years of her life. Still, Ms. Thomas wants her father to walk her down the aisle. You heard that right? Growing up, everybody around her had their dads around them. Not having a father around in the house throughout her life was really depressing.
I just felt like he didn't put enough effort in trying to get to know me.
Mr. Powell?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you put the effort in?
Because I found out she was pregnant through a family member, and one of the family members was like, that ain't your kid.
That is something. So he found out about the pregnancy through a family member. Also, turns out there has been a lot of confusion with the paternity of the baby since day one. After hearing about the possibility of another man being the father, Mr. Powell is bound to have a mountain of doubt.
The summer she came and spent with me, she was a teenager, she was with my other kids. Her and my other kids had a conversation, and they was all discussing like, you don't look like none of us. And I got 6 other kids that been DNA all 99.95%.
Well, don't we all, Mr. Powell? Hearing all of that as a child from her peers must have hit Ms. Thomas where it hurt, especially because it came from his other children. Sure, the semblance card is wildly off, but was there another man in the picture? Ms. Thomas's mother is going to be the one to answer that part.
I was at a party this year. I was discussing with some of the folks that I know back in the day. I was telling them about the situation I'm going through because they knew Miss Shelton, and I was discussing with one of my guys.
Now we're just getting started. Men have been messing around with her from way back. Isn't that wild? Now, Ms. Thomas is denying this. Come on, what are the odds that someone would lie about something like that? Especially since it was so long ago and he recognized her immediately too.
I know who I've been with, and whoever you lying on was making up a person that
I
don't
just
even
asked him, did he mess with her at this time?
First of all, the only one that I was messing with around,
the
only person I was messing with was you, to be honest.
Okay, hold up, Ms. Thomas. You keep denying every single thing Mr. Powell says, and it's getting suspicious. What do you mean he's making people up that don't exist? Mr. Powell has nothing to gain from lying about this situation, so would he really lie? Now who's lying and who's telling the truth?
$43,000 in arrears for child support.
Yes.
And you still have no certainty that this is your biological
What
daughter.
I don't understand is that to get down to, you could have been said something about all the doubts you said you had.
Whoa, $43,000? That's a whole lot of money for a child that he has so much doubt about too. Now what's Ms. Thomas saying about why he's bringing everything up now? If he's so unsure about paternity, does she really expect him to pay all that money regardless?
When you told me she was pregnant, I've been finding out
when I told you,
kids
you already
not my
knew that I
kids
was
all
pregnant.
the time.
Like I said, when I was pregnant with her, you was there, you and everything. You came to visit and everything.
Well, okay then. Now surely it's so hard to believe that they are having a paternity test after 22 years. If everything that Ms. Thomas says is true, as they've been good for all those years, why then is this happening? What is causing all the insurmountable doubt? She says she has been faithful to him.
Somebody said this. That's a lie. You could have kept that.
I don't know
because
why
it's
you
a lie.
lied about
You
it.
already know that it was only you and my ex.
Whoa. So there really was someone else. Now why are you just saying that, Ms. Thomas? This case could have been over already. If it was not just Mr. Powell, but your ex as well, why then is he not a possibility? It only takes one time after all.
Regardless of the fact, hold on, Ms. Shelton, regardless of the fact there was one ex or even a third person which he described, regardless, if there was him and an ex, there still is a question.
Right.
You got that right, Judge Lake. Now this woman is about to realize that she just made the biggest mistake. She came to court knowing that there was a possibility Mr. Powell was not the father, yet she pinned everything on him, with all that money from child support too. Let's get to the results.
Mr. Powell, you are not the father. That is not your daughter's biological father. 22 years. 22 years of being told one man is your father, and the entire time, he is not.
This grandmother does not believe it's her great-grandson. She's in court on behalf of her grandson and their family to deny the paternity of the child. She adds that there are reasons why Ms. Brugger is intent on pinning the paternity of the baby on her family.
All right, you claim your granddaughter knows for a fact
your grandson was sterile.
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you believe Ms. Brugger's motives actually are?
Money, gold digger. Right after Parrish got killed, she went for Social Security.
Well, well, well. Now she just called Ms. Brugger a gold digger. Apparently, she knows that her son W's sterile too. What an interesting turn of events. The way this woman keeps talking like she was the third party in her grandson and Ms. Brugger's relationship is simply alarming.
And the fact that they're saying he was sterile, he was never told by a doctor. That was just him because he never had a child.
Me and Parrish clearly had a conversation before he passed that he wasn't sure.
Oh, I see. So there was no doctor to diagnose his sterility. The only doctor present here is Ms. Warner and her granddaughter in court today. The way these two women are so confident in the sterility story is absolutely something. How could you possibly be sure enough to bring sterility to paternity court without clinical diagnosis?
We lived together. We were a family. He told everyone my girls were his stepdaughters. He called them his stepdaughters, everything. He was there through my whole pregnancy, all the doctor's appointments, everything.
Now it's crazy that all these things add up. It honestly looks suspicious. It's enough to bet that if Parrish Senar were in court today, bless his soul, he'd almost be jumping to support Ms. Brugger. So what exactly is going on with the Warner's testament? Why are these women against Ms. Brugger? Are they about to make an insane mistake?
While you were in this relationship, he's
Excuse
going
me,
to
Your
doctor's
Honor.
appointments with you, and he's excited about the baby and calling your girls his stepchildren. Is he expressing any of this excitement, Ms. Warner, Ms. Beasley, to you that I'm having a child, I believe it's mine?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, what exactly is wrong with these women? He's told you about how he feels about having a family and how excited he is about having a baby with Ms. Brugger. But for God knows what reason, they simply don't believe it. And this is why they're here. What a duo!
Because of Parrish. Parrish was alive then. That was his baby. But to me, that's not his job. He loved the baby, Your Honor, but the baby doesn't even look like him. He doesn't act like him. His forehead's not like, there's nothing about him to tell me that that is my grandson.
Again, what is wrong with these two? His grandmother went to his child's baby shower, listened to him go on about how it is his baby, but she does not believe it. Now she's going on and on about the semblance card. Ms. Warner, do you realize that this is your great-grandson and not your son?
I invited them to my son's first birthday party. They didn't show up.
That's not my son. That's why I didn't show
And
up.
if y'all felt this way about my son, why did y'all never
Because I
say
love
nothing
Parrish
when
so
he was
much.
born
I loved
or
Parrish.
when his father was
I
alive?
love
It was
Parrish
never
and I
a
wasn't-
question.
Oh, I see. She never wanted to come between Parrish Sneer and the baby. She loved Parrish so much and she did not wish to hurt him. All of this applies for when he was alive. Now that Parrish has passed, why are you doing this, Ms. Warner?
Your Honor, there was also times when Parrish would call my grandmother that Rochelle wasn't picking him up from work. He was late to picking her up, and she couldn't explain to him on why all that was happening. There was times when she kicked Parrish out. He came to my grandmother's house. She had to give him money to stay at a hotel room.
Hold up a second. These women thought they had Ms. Brugger in a corner. She came out of that and defended herself so fast, it knocked the bitterness right off their faces. If anything, these women have started to regret coming to paternity court right about now.
Okay, I have a question though, Rochelle. If it comes back and that is his, is my
It is.
grandma even gonna be able to see the baby?
You cannot
You
take
act
him.
so funny. You act so
She
funny
wanted-
with
I'm
him.
so funny, but why
You
weren't
act so
y'all at the
funny
ba-
with
why
him.
weren't y'all at the baby
I wasn't
shower?
there because my 1-year-old
And the
was
birthday.
sick.
Just look at these women. They're completely into bickering right now. They don't even see anybody else. Would you look at that? It's a lot to imagine how Parrish Sinar would react if he were in this courtroom, but things would certainly take a different turn. To cut things short, let's see the results.
Mr. Harvey is related to Parrish Brooks Jr. Therefore, Parrish Brooks Sr. is also related to Parrish Brooks Jr.
Okay, I owe you an apology.
His girlfriend slept with another man on the same day. He then gave his son his first and last name, then found out the baby may not be his. Mr. Woody is in court today only to figure one thing out, if he is the biological father of Ms. Wilson's son. Now, Ms. Wilson reveals that she had been intimate with another man around the time of conception. Now, we do not know who the true father of baby Woody Jr. is.
I have a 3-year-old daughter already, so when I found out I was having a son, I was excited because what man doesn't want to have a junior? You know, all the stuff a father's supposed to do with a son, so I'm just ready, so I'm ready to be a father to a boy now.
Of course. The whole thing about Mr. Woody not being romantically involved with Ms. Wilson really did hit him like a ton of bricks. Now it's like he just realizes that there's a significant chance he might not be the boy's father. Oh boy, talk about a bombshell. It seems like things just keep getting more complicated.
When I met Mr. Woody, I was walking down the street with my friend. We were drunk and we were going up to the store, and he was in an apartment complex holding, with his daughter in a stroller, and he said, "You're cute." And I was like, "Oh, you cute too."
Well, isn't this a twist? Well, talk about a roller coaster. So now she's telling the court that there was only one other man she was involved with during that time? This information would leave either of them potentially as little baby Woody's father. Right now, it gets even more interesting.
The girl that I was dating was responding to the messages that she was sending me. I have a couple of pieces of evidence, and I got the picture of me and my son, and I have the messages from Facebook.
What a text. Now everyone's sitting on the edge of their seats to find out what Mr. Woody's girlfriend responded with. The message itself shows that something is up. Ms. Wilson is ready for a fight and will not hesitate to give it to him if he brings it on.
First message I got back was, I think he said the B word, "You're lying," or something like that. And I honestly thought it was him. And so when I got that message, Your Honor, I'm like, I basically went off like, all I want is your money, point blank period.
Wait, what? After learning he could potentially be the baby's father, Mr. Woody is not shying away. Instead, he returned to town and stepped up to the task, accompanying Ms. Wilson to ultrasounds, attending her doctor's appointments, and being there every step of the way. He stepped up.
While I was sleeping with Mr. Woody, I had sex with my boyfriend and everything. He was the last person I initially had intercourse with. So the last time I had intercourse, it was with Mr. Woody.
Now wait a minute. The big question is, if they were both potential baby daddies, why did Ms. Wilson not tell the other guy that she could be having his baby? Yet another question now is, when did Mr. Woody start having doubts since he did all of this for the baby? He already believed he had a son that was completely his own. So what changed?
I'm at one of my friend's wakes. He had just passed away. So, we at the wake or whatever, and I see her sister, good friends with her son's father. I think you should go get a DNA test.
What a ride. The stories here are getting a lot more complicated. Now, Ms. Wilson, why would anyone walk up to Mr. Woody asking him to take a paternity test so randomly too if there's nothing to be suspicious about? How exactly does that add up?
I've seen her stand in the apartment complex with two dudes, so they all go their separate ways. So the dude one of the dudes come back by himself, so I stop him like, "Hey, bruh, you feel me, is she pregnant?" And he like, "Yeah, by my brother."
Well. After hearing all of that, there's no possible way Ms. Wilson does not feel a mountain of regret. How do you sleep with so many men during the same time frame and expect one MM to claim paternity of the baby without a paternity test?
It's been a roller coaster,
Yeah.
meaning one day you think you're the father, the next day you don't know if you're the father. Then you back in town thinking you're the father, then the guy comes down the street and says you're not the father.
For sure, Judge Lake took the words right out of our mouths. What a roller coaster it must have been for Mr. Woody, really. All these men, all these doubts popping up from nowhere, every time. It makes one wonder if he really is the father of the baby. Well, we'll find out soon enough. Here are the results.
Mr. Woody, you are not his father.
What?
Jerome, will you please have her sit down?
She cheated on him. Already, she admits to have made the biggest mistake of her life by doing that. Ms. Doyle cheated on her perfect fiancé. Now she's in paternity court, and you can bet $1 million on this. She is not having a good time.
I love Brittany, and I love Sophia to death. They're my world, but she lied to me. She kept the truth from me, and it kills me. I hope I am Sophia's father. I love her to death. That's my baby.
So you say you love her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, what an emotional one this is turning out to be. Of course, it's expected that he is unhappy. I can't imagine that he'd be anything else after hearing that sort of news, honestly. With all this love Mr. Fisher seems to have for her and the baby, what then pushed this woman to cheat?
I think that he is the father. I know 100%. I mean, he was there through the whole pregnancy, and he does everything for me. He works, he supports our family, he runs my baths, he cooks my food, he cleans our house, he rubs my back and rubs my feet. He's a great father.
Oh my goodness, the list is endless. After this court case, Mr. Fisher is definitely going home with a fan club of women at his back from the court and all over the world. What do you mean this man is so intentional about loving you and you went ahead to cheat? What happened, Ms. Doyle?
One of her family members met. We became best friends. Like, we was close like this. He took me around her and I just fell for her. Ever since then, I've loved her. She's beautiful.
No, wait a minute. Now, is this paternity court or some romantic reality TV show? Are these two in the right place? With all of this love and romance in court today, how exactly did it turn sour? Why would you cheat on all of this?
Vacation with one of his family members in Florida, and another one of his family members that he was with at the time had texted me, and he said, Trey's cheating on you, which we call him Trey, but his name is John.
Wow, he did what? He cheated on her. So what? She decided to cheat back? Did she ask him about it? Did she talk to him about it? From our experience on paternity court, it is quite safe to conclude that some family members do not have the best interest of said person at heart. So now, was that why she cheated?
Like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So I go back to his camper with him, and we talked about it, and then one thing led to another. He kissed me, and then we had sex.
Whoa, now it all adds up. What a woman. She got a text that her husband was cheating and went on to sleep with someone else a minute later. Now, it turns out that the family member was lying for God knows what reason, and she's the only one cheating in this relationship.
And Mr. Fisher, as you stand here, I can see how difficult it is to hear your fiance describe the night she had sex with another person. And you knew nothing about this until after Sophia was born.
Oh boy, did she break this man. Ms. Doyle cheated and kept it a secret until after the baby was born. So this woman really just woke up next to her husband each day knowing that she cheated on him and let it go on for 9 months. How does one even go on from this?
I held her, kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything, 'cause I thought it was my baby. We stayed there for 3 days. The most important, amazing, wonderful.
Man, isn't he just precious? This man has been everything Ms. Doyle ever wanted from day one up until now. It brings up the big question of how the hell did she believe that text in the first place? It's super evident how this man is with his family. Why then would she suddenly believe that he was cheating without evidence?
We just had fun all day that day, just holding Sophia, spending time with her, just quality time. And she started looking at Sophia, started crying, kept crying. She told me she cheated on me. I tell her I love her, she's my world, so is Sophia.
What a glorious way to break the news of cheating. What other time is perfect but on a sunny afternoon while your fiancé is playing with the baby he may not be the father of? After all of this hurt and cheating, it's time to get what we came here for. Here are the results.
Mr. Fisher, you are the father. Oh, you can stand there with him if you'd like.
Next up, we have one of the most emotionally chaotic cases. The father, or potential father, is really unhappy to be here. Right from the case introduction, Mr. McGrier is shaky and almost in tears. Though Amia is supposedly born from a summer affair from 20 years back, he loves her so much and is here to prove that he is indeed her biological father. Amia, on the other hand, is having none of this.
I'm doing this because I love her, and I really want her to know. I really apologize for the times that I wasn't there and couldn't be the dad that I really wanted to be.
I don't believe that you're my father. I don't want you to be my father.
Phew, what an exchange. Amia has her own share of expressed feelings as she emotionally told the court what life was like without her father completely present in her life. And oh my, what a description that was.
Look at them days when I wasn't there. I'm in one state, you're in another state.
It doesn't matter. If you really thought that you was my father, you would have made a way to be there. No matter what you went through, you was never there. And then you want to come in and out of my life 5 years at a time.
Mr. McGrier is trying so hard to get words in. He is trying to plead his case, but Amia is just too broken to listen. It's really interesting that hurt people have all the power to hurt people this way. What an emotional case we have here.
You should have been there. It doesn't matter.
I understand how you feel.
No, you don't.
Oh, I understand how you feel.
No, you don't. Because if you did, you would have made an effort to be there no matter what.
But I did make efforts to be there with you.
But you bounced in and out of my life.
But when I could, I did.
Well, well, well. So Amia is here explaining with so much pain that he skipped about 7 years of her life at intervals. According to this hurt woman, that does not give him the right to suddenly want to show up right now. That's completely understandable. This woman is hurt to the bone.
We tried to work it out then, but things just didn't work out, and I actually gave him an ultimatum. I actually told him it's either me and your daughter or it's your lifestyle.
What a case this is becoming. So, The two parents had a summer affair, broke up, and she started dating another man about 2 weeks later. Fast forward to the father and daughter's first meeting, Amia was already 2.5 months old. What a tasty story.
He made so many promises that he didn't keep. When I was 13, promised to get me a whole new wardrobe of clothes for school. I had to go to school with the same clothes I put last year, and that resulted into me being bullied all high school.
Whew! If you thought Amia was done talking about her hurt, oh boy, are you wrong. This woman recalled memories from her childhood that hurt her the most. She has these memories and recounted them so perfectly, like they were kept in a box.
Do you hear her when she's speaking, Mr. McGrier?
Yes, actually, Mia actually got more time than any of my other kids, except for the newborns that I have.
But Ms. Wade, I think she feels a level of envy.
Oh boy, isn't that the wildest thing? As it would turn out, there are other kids. What a moment. Imagine having all these feelings and still having to deal with your father giving his time and attention to his other babies.
He would just come around and speak to me, you know, give me a little change, like pocket full of change. He said that he could be my father, and that's when he automatically introduced me to like 6 of his other kids. And after that, I spent more time with them. He's been taking care of me ever since that age.
Newborns. It keeps getting wilder. Now, Amia goes on to narrate how there was another father figure in her life since she was about 11 years old, and it seems like he was everything she ever dreamed of? What is that about? Now, can we really blame her though?
And I want to be a better dad. And if you allow me, there'll be no more broken promises. There'll be no more broken promises. I don't like to make promises that I can't keep. That hurts me even more not to be able to come through when I say that.
Whoa, so after Ms. Wade was asked about this perfect father, she revealed that it was the person that she got into a relationship with after her little summer fling 20 years ago. What an interesting turn of events.
Mr. McGrier, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
But like I said, the broken promises won't be broken. This doesn't change.
What a beautiful outburst of emotion. Such raw genuinity that can't possibly be faked. To wrap all this up, the results are finally in. You did not see these reactions coming. She added earlier that she would never let him be her father, huh? Isn't that something? Watch this.
Mr. McGrier, I want you to keep loving that arm you got around her, just like that. I can see how much you've grown, because that's what a father does. Protects, provide, and at the end of the day, stands beside you, no matter what.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven, or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. He knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time.
What an interesting revelation from her very first retort in court. She does not like Hispanic men, I see. Oh, Ms. Salvo. Nobody asked about your sexual preference. If you're so particular about Hispanic men, explain the Hispanic baby in court right now. You were drunk, huh?
Now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor. The whole part 6 times. That's ridiculous. It wasn't even good, so why would I keep going?
What a woman. She is right, though. It takes just one time. Now, here's the question of who's lying between them. Is it Mr. Gonzalez with his 6-time count, or Ms. Salvo with his 1-time hit? Regardless of what it is, someone is definitely going to have a mountain of regret.
Is that the only reason you excluded your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Is because you felt like Amaya looked Hispanic and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does.
Well, would you look at that? Every single time, one person in court always feels entitled to the semblance card. If Ms. Salvo thinks her baby belongs to Mr. Gonzalez simply because she looks like him, she really has no valid point, especially after having sex with other men. Who's to say that her ex-boyfriend does not have Hispanic ancestry?
My doubts is, I took my best friend over there to her house. 5 days later, I get in the car with my best friend. He's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, I'm sorry, Julio, but I gotta show you something. I'm like, what you mean you gotta show me something?
Whoa, she did what? Now, why was Mr. Gonzalez's friend at her house? More so, how do the pictures exist if Ms. Salvo never takes naked pictures? Like she said, these pictures are suggestive, and Mr. Gonzalez has nothing to gain from lying about them. Now, again, who is lying between these two?
I guess what you would call it fast. That was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb. I was a kid. I did everything with whoever at that time. I conceived my daughter at 18.
Whoa, let's get one thing straight first. She was pregnant with her baby when she was what? The amount of teenage pregnancies on paternity court is absolutely alarming. Also, Ms. Salvo is admitting to being promiscuous. Now all that is left is to figure out which of them is lying.
This Mexican guy keep looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. I asked, actually, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight me? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I tell him, you're the baby daddy.
Oh my goodness. What are these stories about different men coming up at various intervals? Why is a random man from her elementary school coming into her life right now? If truly it was elementary school, why then did he want a baby by you? Has he been saying that since elementary school, Ms. Salvo?
Mr. Gonzalez, you know, it seemed as if you were hoping Amaya was your daughter.
I want Amaya to be my daughter.
You do?
Yeah, I don't want her. It's not her fault she's here in this world. She's an innocent little girl.
What a woman. Bless her dear soul. She did all of that for the baby amidst the thick fog of doubt in the air that the baby may not be her son's. It really helps nobody when one person says one thing and the other person claims another story. Now that all of the fog is ever, we simply cannot wait to get the results.
If she is your biological child,
I would like to have weekends.
you're going to step up to the plate
Yes, ma'am.
and do what needs to be done to care for this beautiful little girl?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
What a guy. Now, we get to find out whose story holds water. From Ms. Salvo denying all the cheating allegations to Mr. Gonzalez claiming that his fiancée slept with 1 million men and some. Who made the mistake and who is going to regret their silly decisions?
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Can I still come around and see Amaya and help her out if I can? Because for a year and 4 or 5 months, she's been my daughter and she's still gonna be my daughter.